Welcome to Legs Like Mine, the podcast, where we explore lipedema through the eyes of a patient, break down the latest research, and share real life stories of living with this often misunderstood condition. I'm Susan O'Hara from LegsLikeMine.com. I'm a lipedema patient, author, and advocate, and I'm so glad you're here. Whether you're newly diagnosed or deep into your journey, this podcast is for you. My mother has had lipedema in her legs since the onset of puberty. We didn't know this until 2 years ago when I was diagnosed as well. Despite weighing around 100 pounds in high school, Mom went on a very restrictive diet for years, eating nothing but a boiled egg and tea each day. She passed out repeatedly during these years, even falling down an escalator once, yet her legs remained unchanged. My mother's condition went undiagnosed. She's in her 70s now and isn't a candidate for surgery due to other health issues, but shares that if she were even 10 years younger, she'd be having surgery and seeking treatment ASAP. My mission is to share about lipedema so that no one goes undiagnosed like this. It took me years of thinking that I might have cancer before I discovered lipedema. Imagine the terror of wondering when it would take me. I'm guessing so many of you have had similar stories. For me, I've been overweight since about the second grade and suffered all the things that kids do to each other because of it. I was on the grapefruit diet by age 8. I was a pretty active and outdoorsy kid, but always the one wearing the husky jeans. Years of different diets and shenanigans with my body left me done with it all until I had kids, or at least until I wanted to have kids. My fertility struggle has to fit into this whole mix somewhere. For several years during the time I was trying to get pregnant, I went to several doctors for help. This time was incredibly difficult psychologically for me. I experienced numerous doctors who fat shamed me, told me I wasn't healthy enough to have a child, told me to lose weight, and even who told me that their medical equipment and speculums weren't long enough for me to be treated. So not only was I already self-conscious about my body, but I began to think of myself as not even a normal or a real woman because I couldn't bear children. I eventually found a doctor at Bennett Fertility Center in Oklahoma City who not only recognized that I had polycystic ovary syndrome, but was also able to find the right treatment. The second month of seeing him, no less. That helped me to get pregnant. I left the hospital after delivering my first child with legs that would never be the same as they were before pregnancy. After several months on fertility hormones and then being prescribed progesterone for a total of 12 months during pregnancy, my legs had developed into tree trunks. With the birth of my second child, they grew even more. I continued to work full-time in a professional management position while raising the kids with my husband. A few years later, I noticed nodules that felt like painful golf balls under my skin as the stress in my job increased dramatically. I believed I was developing cancerous tumors in my legs. I had natively started wearing maxi dresses to cover my legs, and had one day, years ago, decided shorts as a regular outfit piece just weren't for me, and had also switched to wearing long mid-board shorts over my bathing suit to hide the growing bulges. I felt jealous when I saw women my age, some of whom were actually bigger than me, who still had nice legs to show off when all I wanted was to cover mine to the floor. I somehow felt less than again because I couldn't get my legs under control, despite having had bariatric surgery twice and losing more than 150 pounds, training and completing a walking half marathon, and enjoy being a very active mother. I simply did not understand what was going on with my body. My legs had been growing for a while, and the backs of my calves especially got very hard and fibrotic. They even developed lumps so large that I'd name them. My primary doctor at home was very kind, and she worked with me extensively to try and figure out what was going on as each new symptom appeared. She sent me for x-rays, blood work, and several MRIs, both with and without contrast, but the results were all inconclusive. The two of us had all but given up and explored alternatives, including switching to a vegetarian diet for several years, and I even considered having a third bariatric surgery, which I thankfully decided not to do. Although they were all well-meaning, none of these treatments helped my condition. My legs continued to grow while I was dedicated vegetarian. I saw a trusted physical therapist and even talked about Larry, the name I had given to the large lump on my left calf, but neither of us knew what it was. I suffered for years with legs that ached constantly and kept me awake at night. When my cats walked on me, it hurt deeply in my legs. I tried all kinds of things to help my legs: creams, ace bandages, icing, fascia blasting, rolling them with a rolling pin, special exercises, and targeted weightlifting. Sadly, the only results were wasted time and money and a lot of strange bruises that looked like I had been beaten severely in the legs. One day, I developed a sudden bout of tendinitis in my leg, rendering me nearly immobile, and I saw a foot specialist who sent me to a brace company to have a special brace fitted before a trip to New York with my Girl Scouts. This trip would require miles of walking each day, and I wanted to be in good shape. I was only in my mid 40s and not ready to quit doing fun things like this, and I was determined to use the brace and take the trip. At the brace supplier, the technician casually asked me, "So, who's treating your lymphedema?" Lymphedema? I had never even heard of this word. It had a name? And there were other people around who were hiding their legs and suffering like me? Total light bulb moment. Epiphany. I went back to my doctor and reported what the brace technician had said. She immediately sent me to a certified lymphedema specialist for decongestive therapy. The therapist assigned me swimming therapy, arranged for a flexi-touch pump, and taught me about wrapping and compression. I was angry at having gone years of not knowing that my condition was legitimate or special or real, but I was also relieved, finally, to have a sense of understanding about what was happening to my body. I had hope that I could get the swelling down enough to maybe someday wear a pair of shorts again with some dignity. I saw the therapist faithfully several times a week, was measured for compression, bought boxes and loads of wrapping supplies, started using my pump daily, and began to see some difference in the size of my legs. The goal of all these treatments is just to reduce the swelling and inflammation, and then the compression was to keep it from coming back. I was to wear the wraps for 24 to 36 hours at a time and then take them off only to shower or to be rewrapped. I really struggled with wearing these stupid wraps on my legs because they slid down quite easily. It's hard to walk with them on, and they're bulky, and so on. I ultimately opted to purchase Velcro Ready Wraps from lymphedemaproducts.com. The first ones I bought were customizable, and my therapist cut them down to fit for me. After I wore this type for a while, I discovered other wraps available on Amazon that were like multiple layers of Velcro, and I could adjust them each time that I put them on. Also, I was able to wear these wraps on top of leggings or compression, and I could move. Oh, thank God. Best of all, they did work to reduce swelling. My new lymphedema diagnosis led me to join multiple Facebook support groups for lymphedema patients. Just when things were starting to feel better and I thought I was at the end of the line for treatment, my legs flared up with almost double the normal swelling and pain levels and went out of control, correlating directly with a ridiculously stressful day at work. In a single day, several new bumpy and painful golf ball sized nodules appeared out of nowhere. I went to every resource I knew asking for help once again. When I shared photos of my legs online, I learned from some of my new friends that I may actually have had late stage lipedema, lipolymphedema. Never having heard the word lipedema, I went down another entire rabbit hole of research, and for the first time, I saw so many people with legs just like mine on the internet. I immediately felt a kindred spirit with these brave souls who had shared their pictures and helped me figure it all out. It was the pictures that explained so much. Finally, I had the right term to Google and a way to find specialists knowledgeable with the condition. Through the internet, I connected with a doctor specializing in lipedema who looked at my pictures remotely, had me fill out a very extensive questionnaire providing a very thorough history on my legs. And after receiving my documentation, I met the doctor and his staff over the phone to begin my journey towards treatment. 4 years after I started my search in earnest, I finally received a written diagnosis halfway across the country: lipedema. Once I got that diagnosis, I moved extremely fast to get surgical treatment. I'm not getting any younger, and I have so much to do. I switched insurance companies to one that is known to cover lipedema. I gathered all of my documentation of tests and scans over the years, my receipts from treatments and purchases to date, and I got this package ready. I was approved for surgery in January of 2021, and by mid February of 2021, I was laying on the operating table in Beverly Hills and had the first 16 liters of lipedema tissue removed. I go into a lot more detail about insurance and surgery processes for you in my other podcast and on my website, LegsLikeMine.com. I also documented my surgical recoveries every step of the way on my YouTube channel. As of today, I've had 3 surgeries with the doctor to help me get my legs under control. In addition to surgery, I continue to wear compression and wraps regularly. I swim, and I receive regular lymphatic therapy. Yeah, my legs are still lumpy and bumpy, but they don't hurt as much like they used to. I wear swimming suits, shorts, and shorter dresses than I have in 20 years. Most importantly, I'm able to walk without pain again after years of suffering. Another thing I do is I feverishly overshare and receive support online with so many women in various stages of the treatment and diagnosis journey. I feel very deeply that I and you need to do what we can to share our stories so that other women can receive diagnoses in time to save their mobility and their dignity. Along my journey, I've learned that millions of women have lipedema and that I'm not a freak or a rarity, but part of a big percentage of the population. There's a lot of debate about the studies, but several sources, including the National Institutes of Health website, cite that 11% of women have lipedema. 11%. That's a lot. Through becoming part of the lipedema community, I've accepted the condition I have, and now I believe that I indeed do fit in. And yeah, I'm still pretty. It took a lot of time, but I'm at peace with where I am. I'm honestly just glad to know that I have a real disease and that I'm not a failure for not being able to get my legs to slim down through diets and exercise. I even feel like it's appropriate and right to continue doing things I love, like snorkeling, playing on the beach, hiking and camping, and I show my legs more. It helps other women feel comfortable too when they see other imperfect people enjoying life. I plan to begin carrying little cards about lipedema that I can discreetly share with women who look like me. I know I would be forever grateful back in the day when I had no clue what was going on, even to know the word lipedema. I hear over and over that doctors receive only 1 hour of training on the lymphatic system during medical school. My experience is that lipedema and lymphedema, while not rare, are very rarely diagnosed correctly. Diagnosing as early as possible is imperative to slow progression with conservative treatments. This is another reason why we need to be aggressively sharing the story. Many of us, including myself, had doctors who hadn't been trained to recognize and diagnose lipedema. Others, sadly, have doctors who diagnose it as obesity, and worse, some who fat shame. If we can get more doctors aware of the disease, we can get to needed treatment. So, as I mentioned, I decided to get courageous and share my story. Well, actually, overshare my story. I started adding pictures to my Instagram and Facebook and began blogging on LegsLikeMine.com, and I started educating any medical professional who touches me about my condition, including my dentist. I brought pamphlets to my doctor, let other doctors touch and feel my legs to understand the lipomas in them, and I invited my occupational therapist to have her peers come and see me before and after surgery. I started referring other lipedema patients to my medical team, both at home and in California. Additionally, I answered and continue to answer thousands of emails and messages from desperate women, all searching for the name of their disease and a way to receive treatment, wanting to know just what I experienced and asking for advice, help, or a listening ear. After answering many questions individually but repeatedly to different people, and with the guidance of my husband, who is a prolific blogger, I learned that capturing my knowledge and experiences in blog format was a way more efficient way to share the same information with multiple people asking the same questions. I do all of these things: writing books, doing podcasts, giving presentations in public, my YouTube channel, so on and so forth, all for you, in hopes that you might gain a golden nugget of information that helps you or someone you love manage their condition. I also hope that you'll have the courage to share this information and my books and my blogs and my podcast and other people's stories with the lady you see who happens to be wearing jeans at the beach someday, so that she might figure out what's going on with her own legs and give her the information she needs to be empowered to change her own life. If this episode spoke to you, or if you've ever felt unheard on your lipedema journey, please know this: you are not alone. We're in this together, and we're not stopping here. Drop a comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And don't forget to like and subscribe so you never miss an episode. Thanks for listening. I'm Susan O'Hara from LegsLikeMine.com. Be kind to yourself and keep going.